Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited for today's video because I've put together what I consider to be a very important resource for anyone who wants to learn how to successfully grow bitter leaves out here in the diaspora. If you want to learn how to grow bitter leaves from stems or from the seeds, how to harvest, how to process, and even how to cook bitter leaves or make bitter leaf juice, along with all the amazing health benefits of bitter leaves, then this video is for you. I organized the video into like chapters. I would like you to watch all of them so that you get like complete information. But if not, you can just skip to whatever chapter that interests you the most. I sincerely hope that this video is going to add a lot of value to you and to many other people. So do me a favor to share the video. Share the video on your WhatsApp status, on your social media. Send the link to a friend and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. That way, we can grow this community and we can get many more people to know and appreciate vegetables that Africa has to offer to the world. So thank you so much for supporting me. Now, if you want to know everything that it takes to successfully grow bitter leaves in the diaspora, then stay tuned. Now, let's get started. To start your bitter leaf seeds, I recommend you use a container. Don't throw the seeds out in the garden. I'm using aluminum trays, but you can use any other big container. You want to make sure that the container you use has holes at the bottom for drainage, or you put the holes there by yourself. This is important. Next, we're going to need something to grow our seeds in. I am using a potting mix soil and I recommend you do the same. And as you can see, I'm using a sieve to filter out some of the larger wood particles. That is because the bitter leaf seed is tiny, and if it lands on the big wood particles, it is not going to germinate. Another reason why I use the potting mix soil is because it already has nutrients in there that can support the growth of the bitter leaf for a period of time before I ever need to transplant it. You don't want to use soil directly from the garden, especially if you are starting your bitter leaf seeds indoors, because soil from the garden carries with it eggs of different insects that are going to hatch once you bring them indoors. Additionally, soil from the garden can carry extra seeds of things like weed, other vegetable, and God knows what, and that will also sprout. So we want to prevent that and just use potting mix soil. Another type of soil that you can use is the seed starter mix, but the seed starter mix does not have nutrients in it, and after a period of time you're gonna need to fertilize to support the growth of your bitter leaf. Bottom line, just use the potting mix soil and do your best to remove the extra large wood particles. This is important. Okay, so we're going to fill up the container with enough potting mix soil. If you can, fill it up to the brim, like to the very top. After getting the soil ready, it is time to plant our bitter leaf seeds, and we're going to do that by just broadcasting the seeds on the surface of our pre-moistened soil. If this video is adding value to you, kindly do me a favor by clicking on that thumbs up button. And if you know somebody who might benefit from this video, kindly share the video with that person. Thank you so much. After broadcasting the seeds on the surface of our soil, we are going to press it down lightly just to make sure that our seeds have contact with the soil to germinate. And then, this is very important, guys, do not cover the seeds with any additional soil. The bitter leaf seeds are very tiny, and just pressing them down like that is enough for germination. What I'm using here is a burlap cloth, a garden burlap cloth, and I'm going to show you what I do with it. But if you do not have that burlap cloth, you can also use something like cheesecloth, or just think outside of the box. Anything that you have that looks like a burlap cloth will work. If I were to water this directly, because the seeds are so light and so tiny, the seeds might just sink to the bottom of the pan and never germinate. So now you water on top of the burlap cloth, so it reduces the pressure. It reduces the water pressure and distributes it. So the question is, without the burlap cloth, will the seeds still germinate? I don't know. Every time I've had a germination, I have used a burlap cloth. So just use it. Guys, this is my bitter leaf starts. So I started these from seeds and I noticed something today. Let's see what is going on in here. You guys see that? See that? We have a germination, guys. So I planted the seeds on the 29th and today is the 6th of February. So that makes it how many days? 8 days. So we have a germination in 8 days. Remove the burlap cloth now. Okay. 29th. Today is the 6th. We have a germination. I'm so excited. I am so excited. So, yep. And then 1 week post germination, and this is how much growth we have. So guys, you can start Bitterleaf from seeds. You just need to do it right. I hope this video was valuable to you. Again, I'm gonna ask for your thumbs up. It means a lot to me. And if you would know somebody that can benefit from this video, make sure you share the video with them. I hope I have earned your subscription. Thank you so much for your encouragement and your support and your love. So I'm here working on my Bitterleaf starts. These are my Bitterleaf plants that I started from seeds on the 29th of January. Today is March the 24th. So it's been about 8 weeks since I started these from seeds. And I am transplanting them, or repotting them, or uppotting them, or pricking them, which just means that I'm trying to decongest what I have going on here. I think I planted too many seeds in this container. I always do, but it's time to put them into a bigger container. That way the plant can have more nutrients, which is what I am doing. I have a nursery bag here, which I have filled with potting mix soil. And this bag is big, so I'm putting 2 plants in here. What I am doing is simply, let me show you, taking 1 tiny plant from here and then moving that in here. I just pinch the roots. I'm trying to get the big ones. Okay, take 1, put in here, and then press the roots together. This is the broadleaf Bitterleaf. So yeah, guys, that is what you do. That is the next step. About 8 weeks after germination, go ahead and repot or uppot your Bitterleaf starts. They're still too young to go directly in the garden, so I have them in these containers. They will continue to grow maybe for another 3 to 4 weeks, and then I will move them either into another container or in ground. Guys, remember our Bitterleaf plants? that we up potted or repotted into these containers, these little nursery bags. Today, I'm going to take them to the garden. I'm going to be planting them out today. And this is why they need to move. As soon as you start to see the roots peep out of the container, it is time to move them into something bigger so that they can continue to grow. So I figured out where I'll be planting all of these bitter leaves, and I will plant them, guess where? Along the fence. See that fence over there? Along that fence, I'm gonna put my bitter leaves. I can put them quite close together. Like I said, I'm gonna put them quite close together. Grab this one. These bags are just perfect. Just gonna get it out like so. See that? Then I'll put it, just set this here. So guys, this is how much growth I have of the bitter leaves. It's growing against the fence. I transplanted these after the seeds had sprouted, and then I had seedlings with a couple of true leaves. I put a lot of it along the fence all the way, and as it's growing it is two packed together. So what I will do today is thin out some and then cut some of the leaves, and I'll show you how I do that. Actually, this will be the second time I'm cutting some of the leaves. As you can see, I've been doing some bottom pruning to prevent disease as well, because the leaves were touching the ground. Okay, so we'll work on the bitter leaves today. All right guys, so what I will do today is just cut some of these leaves from the bottom, then I will let it grow. I will let it keep doing the vertical growth until it is up to about this height, somewhere around here. Then I will cut the top to encourage lateral growth. But for now, I will just harvest the leaves from the bottom, and then that will be dinner, and then also thin out the bitter leaves. Let me share with you where I got my bitter leaf seeds from in 2024. It's on the screen. I went on Etsy and I got my seeds from this vendor. They are all the way in Ghana, but they got the seeds to me in less than 10 days, and I started the seeds on the 28th of February. So you can visit Etsy and get your seeds from there if you're looking for bitter leaf seeds, but be mindful that it's a little pricey. And guys, I'm not being paid for this endorsement. I'm just sharing it as a public service announcement. I know nothing about the company, etc., etc., but I thought I'd share with you. This first part of the video is going to teach you how to get the stem cuttings, and then I'm also going to show you what you need to do to get that to root. Now, you need some tools to get the job done. We are going to need something to cut the stems, and I recommend a pair of garden shears. The second thing that I'm going to recommend that you get is a jar or a vase like this one. You're going to fill that jar or the vase with clean water. And then the third thing that you're gonna need, of course, are the bitter leaf plant stems. I have some here which I got from last season. They are in a bucket right now. I was just trying to preserve the stems throughout the winter so that I have them in the spring. But I'm going to collect some cuttings from this one, and we're also going to go outside and get some cuttings from some of the bitter leaf plants that I have growing in containers. So let's go do that. All right, guys, these are my bitter leaf plants growing in containers. We're gonna get some stems from here to propagate them. I'm just going to cut and try to cut at an angle, maybe 45 degrees, like so. And I'm going to get rid of the leaves. We don't want any leaves. We want the bitter leaf plant to concentrate its energy to producing roots. So I'm gonna get rid of the leaves. See the length? This is about right. What we want is to have some nodes left. And this part is gonna go underwater and it's gonna root. And this one is gonna become a whole different plant. I have prepared the stems and they're all sitting in water in my vases, as you can see. So you wanna make sure that you don't have any leaves covered by the water, because if you have the leaves down here, obviously it's going to rot. So that's how much water we have. See that? I started this whole process back in December. Some already have roots, as you can see. This one is ready to go in the soil right now. But since we're in January, I think I'm gonna leave it in water for a few more weeks before I put the stems in soil. This is in my kitchen and the vases are sitting on my windowsill. And that's because I can get sunlight, indirect sunlight from that window, and it will help my bitter leaf stems to photosynthesize and all of that good stuff. All right, so guys, the next time you see an update from me on this bitter leaf project, we're gonna talk about how to change the water, the maintenance, and then we're also gonna talk about how long it takes for the root to start to form. So today is January the 27th, so we'll see how long it takes to root. Stay tuned. So guys, here are our bitter leaf cuttings in water about 10 days later. As you can see, we're starting to form roots. The little bubbles that you see, roots are gonna come out of there. In fact, this one right here, we have root already forming. This is 10 days later. What I'm about to do now is change the water, which you should do every 2 to 3 days, 3 times a week. You can do a schedule of Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, or something like Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, something like that. So every 2 to 3 days, you empty out the water and then fill it up with fresh room temperature water. Get out the dirty water and then just fill it up with room temperature water. You want to bring it up to about the same level, like so. Okie dokie, we have fresh water in here, and you're gonna repeat this process until the roots form and they are about 1 to 2 inches long. When you have the root ball clusters about 1 to 2 inches long, then we're going to transfer the stem in ground. You already have some of the stems, some of the bitter leaf stems that have produced roots. As you can see, these are about 2 months old right now. So it's about time for me to put this in soil because we need nutrients at this point, okay? I have my garden shears right here, and then this is where I'm going to plant my bitter leaves in these bags. These are nursery bags. I got them from Amazon. This is potting soil. that is enough. And then I'm gonna sit it in this little container right here. All right guys, I'm done filling up the bags. As you can see, the next step is to water. The next step will be to plant the rooted stems in here. We're done planting our bitter leaves. I think these stems are too long, so I'm just gonna go ahead and trim all of them, okay? And then after trimming them, I'll take them inside because it's quite cold. I'll take them inside, and then on days when the weather is decent, I'll bring my box outside. That's why I have it in a container, so I can easily carry it in and out of the house. This is the third part of our bitter leaf series, where I'm trying to teach you how to take the stem cuttings and then propagate it. As you can see, our bitter leaves are doing so well. I eventually set up a mini greenhouse and took all of my stems outside. You can see I planted them in different containers, some in cups, some in smaller nursery bags, and some in these bigger nursery bags. They have rooted beautifully, as you can see. At this point, it is warm enough to put the stems in ground. So I'm going to now transplant the stems in ground. Bitter leaves thrive in well-draining soil that is rich in organic matter. Make sure you enrich your soil with compost, with manure before planting your bitter leaf. And the spacing about 12 inches apart, 12 to 18 inches apart is good, because we want good airflow so that the plants can thrive. So you're going to water regularly. Consistent watering is important, and then as needed you can apply an all-purpose fertilizer to improve growth of the bitter leaf plants. So this is how you grow bitter leaves from stems. At the end of the growing season, around October or November, make sure you take stem cuttings of the bitter leaves, because the bitter leaves will probably not survive the winter. So take the stem cuttings, root them in water for about 2 to 3 months, and then put them in nursery bags so that the plants can continue to grow. And when all dangers of frost have passed, grow them in the garden. I'm growing them in giant fabric bags, but you can plant them directly in ground or in containers. They do well in containers as well. After 4 to 6 weeks or so after transplanting them in ground, you can start harvesting the bitter leaves, and then the cycle continues again. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel and to the garden. YAJE here, excited to share another gardening video with you. Today I'm going to be harvesting the bitter leaves for the last time this 2022. Then I'm also going to be preparing the bitter leaves for winter. So I wanted to take you along and show you what I do to ensure that I will still have bitter leaves next season. All right, tribe, as you can see, the bitter leaves, they are producing flowers. That's the flower head. I wanted to show it to you, but I'm not going to let it flower because it's doing this very late in the season. The seeds are not going to mature before we have our first frost date. So I'm going to cut my losses and just harvest the the leaves, harvest the bitter leaves so I can enjoy the vegetables rather than risk losing it. We are in November, temperatures are dropping, and I don't want to lose my bitter leaves. See, that's one of the challenges with growing some of these vegetables out here in the diaspora. You cannot grow them year round. So we need to get ahead of frost and harvest the veggies before you show up one morning and everything is gone. So I thought I should take you along and show you how I prepare the bitter leaves so that next season it will come back. You know, bitter leaves are a perennial shrub. Depending on the severity of your winter season, it may come back the following year or it may not. When I say come back, what I'm trying to say is when it's winter, it's probably going to die. All of the leaves are going to die. But if you do take care of the bitter leaves properly, which is what I will show you, chances are it will come back again in the spring. So let's go harvest the bitter leaves and then I'll show you what I do to winterize the bitter leaf plants. Guys, notice how I planted my bitter leaves in a way that forms like a barrier, like a fence. So bitter leaf back home, the bitter leaf plant is sometimes used as a live fence. Bitter leaf, also known as Vernonia amygdalina, is a medicinal herb native to tropical regions of Africa. So we're talking about Cameroon, Nigeria, and other countries in the area. In Cameroon, we refer to the bitter leaf as ndole, and some tribes in Nigeria call it onugbu. So we consume the leaves as vegetable, and the leaves are used in soups. They are used in cooking different types of dishes. They are also used for tea, and they can be applied on the skin to minor skin irritations because it has medicinal benefits as well. My harvest, guys. Here we go. Here's my bitter leaf harvest. It's about to rain. Let me take this inside and we'll be back. All right, guys, I'm done harvesting. Now I'm going to cut this down really low. Cut it down low. And then I'll apply mulch here. Next season. All right, guys, we're done harvesting and cutting down the stems. As you can see, I cut the stems really low, and then I am going to just mulch this area with leftover stuff from the garden, as you can see, and that is because I want to keep the temperature a little bit warmer over the winter to ensure that the roots don't die, and then in the spring it will come back. The new shoots will come back from the roots that are left. All of these stems, as you see, they're gonna die once it gets like really cold and it, you know, temperatures drop below freezing. All of these stems will die at some point, but the roots, I'm counting on the roots to be back in the spring. So we'll keep applying leftover stuff from the garden over here as mulch. I will get leaves. Maybe when they cut the grass, I can get grass and put here leaves from trees that will fall because fall and winter is here. I'll pick up the leaves and put here and mulch the area. So that's how I winterize or overwinter my bitter leaves. That's our harvest, guys. Massive harvest of bitter leaf. They last for the season. Let's harvest some bitter leaf. This is my garden right here. I'm sure we've all heard that bitter leaf is very nutritious. If you don't know that, yes, it is. But if you're like me, probably you've not been making very good use of this vegetable because of what it takes to process bitter leaf. We all know it's such a hassle. At least it has been for me. I can plant, but when it comes to processing it, usually that's where I drop the ball. But recently, I discovered a method to process bitter leaf like really easily, and that's what I want to share with you today. So first, let's harvest the bitter leaf. So I'm going to use the scissors to harvest my bitter leaf because I don't want to ruin my pip nails. Now it's time to process the bitter leaf. Watch how fast this is, guys. Alright, just separate it out. So what I do is I just cut it like that. Easy. So that was about 10 minutes. All done. Let's see, the water is not yet boiling. So I will take this one back to the garden to compost. All right, so the water is boiling now. It's come to a rolling boil. I'll turn the heat down just a little. I have a sink over there. I'm filling up the sink with cold water. So what I want to do is quickly blanch the vegetables, and then I will transfer it to the sink full of cold water so that the temperature drops to halt the cooking process. So here's my baking soda. I'll add about a tablespoon, maybe 2. The boiling water, and then I did not cut the bitter leaf. I'm adding the bitter leaf to the water whole. What the baking soda does is it preserves the green color, and it also softens your vegetables, the bitter leaf. It makes it soft while preserving that green color. Yeah, this is about ready. You don't want it too soft. Yeah, turn it off. But now I'm going to transfer this to the sink full of water. Using the pair of thumbs, just transfer the bitter leaf to the water in the sink to drop the temperature. So that halts the cooking process. When I need to cook the bitter leaf, depending on what I want to make, I can cut the leaves up or not. If I'm just making punch bitter leaf, I leave it like that. If I'm making ndole or bitter leaf egusi, then I get a knife and I cut it up into smaller pieces. Just easier that way, and a lot faster. It took me less than 15 minutes to get this done. Less than 15 minutes to process this. It's a very, very efficient method. That's it, guys. So at this point, I'll just put the bitter leaf in my freezer, Ziploc bag. And when I'm ready to cook some bitter leaf, it's ready. Here is bitter leaves. I have already processed the bitter leaves, and over here I have egusi, chopped tomatoes over here, lots of onions. This is oil. This is stock from the meat that I cooked, some hot peppers, some smoked fish, And here is shrimp that I have marinating with white peppers. Over here I have a mix of ginger and garlic. Here is shrimp powder. I have white pepper. You're gonna need a large pot for this one, guys. So I just added some oil in there, maybe a quarter to half a cup. And then I'm going to quickly fry the onions and the tomatoes as well. At this point, I'm adding the ginger and garlic mix. Just mix everything up and let it cook for about 5 minutes. Meanwhile, we're going to mix our egusi with the stock. And guys, if you don't have stock, you can just use warm water. That is fine as well. The stock just adds extra flavor. We're gonna go ahead and add the egusi mixture to the tomatoes and the onions. And then now is the time to add the smoked fish. Guys, if you don't have smoked fish, smoked turkey works just as well. I used what I had on hand. Actually, I think it tastes better with smoked turkey. So we're gonna let that cook for a little bit, and if it's too dry, feel free to add more water. We're gonna let the egusi mixture cook for at least 15 to 20 minutes. I always have to use my habanero peppers. These are from my garden and they add so much aroma. I'm adding them whole, so it's not spicy, but I get the aroma. While the egusi mixture cooks, we're gonna go ahead now and cook the shrimp separately. This is used as a garnish and to add extra flavor to the egusi bitter leaves. It's completely optional, but I highly recommend. Our egusi mixture is almost done. At this point, I'm just fishing out the peppers that I cooked in there whole. It has added some aroma, but without the spiciness. I'm gonna add these back at the end. Just keep watching, guys. Now we go back to the other pot. At this point, I'm going to add the shrimp to the pot. And we don't want to ever overcook shrimp, so I'm just gonna cook for about 2 to 3 minutes per side. You want to cook until the shrimp is just lightly pink in color. I added the bitter leaves into our egusi mixture. In goes my njanga or crayfish. This adds a ton of flavor to most African dishes. Njanga or crayfish is just powdered dried shrimp. At this point, I'm going to add the cooked meat into our bitter leaf egusi. The meat that I used in this case was oxtail. Oxtail has a lot of flavor. Actually, any meat that has bones in there always has a lot of flavor. Another alternative that you could use is cow leg. Yes, we eat cow legs in Africa. We eat every part of the animal in Africa. At this point, our dish is almost ready. I know it takes forever to cook some of these African dishes. If you find that it's too dry, you can always add more stock or more water and then adjust seasoning. See, that's the way African cooking goes. We just taste as we go. We use our eyes and adjust as need be. I just added more of that shrimp powder in there. It's time to dish our food. No, I did not forget about the shrimp that we cooked. Just keep watching, you see how this is used. Now it's time to add our shrimp onion garnish. Oh my god, it adds a ton of flavor and a ton of aroma. You have to try this. This can be served with fufu corn or yam fufu or gari or boiled plantains or cassava, you name it. So these are my bitter leaves, freshly harvested. I'm gonna pick the leaves, wash the bitter leaves thoroughly, strain out the water with my salad spinner over here, and then I'm gonna be using my juicer to juice the bitter leaves. I will also show you what you can do should you not have a juicer, how you can juice the bitter leaves using a blender. That's the water I'm going to be using, and then I have some bottles over here that I am recycling. I'm sterilizing it right now with some water, hot water, boiling water, and so yeah. When we have prepped our bitter leaves and they are ready to be juiced, I'm using my Omega juicer, but if you do not have a juicer, you can do this in a blender as well. At this point, we're done juicing the bitter leaves, but it is super concentrated, so I'm gonna be adding some water to it. Make sure the water that you add is very clean water. As you can see, I'm just using bottled water, but you can use any clean filtered water. The dose is actually 1 handful to 1 liter of water approximately. And if you're wondering how long the bitter leaf juice can retain its potency, they say it can last for as long as a month, 1 month if well kept. So if you put this in the refrigerator, it can last you a whole month. At this point, I'm running the juice through that filter you see there. It's a cloth that I bought from Amazon to remove the extra pulp, the extra fiber, to make it even more palatable. So that's it, guys. Bitter leaf juice is not only delicious, but it is incredibly healthy. And drinking bitter leaf juice regularly can help to boost the immune system, aid digestion, lower blood sugar, reduce inflammation, and detoxify the body. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos on how to grow vegetables and for more healthy recipes and tips just like this one. Thanks for watching. Until next time, grow a garden and stay healthy. Bye guys.